If you can't lose fat, no matter how little you eat, your liver is almost always the reason. That's because when it gets even slightly backed up, fat burning shuts off, fat storage ramps up, and you don't realize it's happening until it's already clogged. The good news is your liver can resume fat burning quickly once you give it the right foods. So today, I'm breaking down 6 simple food hacks that clear liver fat fast, including one that can flush out toxins that would have otherwise stayed in your body for years. Let's dive in. Most people think fat loss is something that you just burn off with enough movement, like rubbing 2 sticks together until the fat melts away. And that belief feels true. You can feel your muscles working. You can feel yourself getting tired. So it's easy to assume that the harder you move, the more fat you burn. But fat loss doesn't work like that because your muscles don't actually decide what fuel they burn. Your liver does. Your liver is the gatekeeper. It decides whether your muscles burn sugar or whether they burn stored fat. And if your liver is congested, inflamed, or stuck in storage mode, it will keep sending sugar to your muscles, even when you have plenty of fat ready to burn. So you can walk, run, bike, sweat, and still burn mostly sugar because your liver never gave your body permission to burn fat. Now, the good news is your liver can flip that switch quickly, but only when it gets the right chemical signal, and that signal is protein. When you eat protein, especially early in the day, it triggers a hormone called glucagon. Glucagon is the exact opposite of insulin. Insulin tells the liver, store things, hold on to everything. Glucagon tells the liver, open up the storage, release fat. We don't need more sugar right now. That's the first way protein helps your liver burn fat. But there's another way. And this one is happening inside your liver cells every time you eat. Your liver prefers cheap fuel, like glucose, because it's easy to process. But protein is harder. So to use protein for energy, your liver has to go through a long conversion process called gluconeogenesis. This process is a labor-intensive process. Your liver has to break down amino acids, rebuild them into glucose, and then release that glucose slowly. That extra labor burns a significant amount of calories all by itself. Up to 20 to 30% of the calories from protein that you eat get burnt up in this process, and it prevents fat from getting stuck in your liver. Now, if you want to see the benefits, how much protein do you actually need each meal? Women should aim for 20 to 30 grams, men closer to 30 to 40. And that could come from organic pasture-raised eggs for breakfast, a scoop of clean collagen in your morning coffee, wild-caught salmon, grass-fed beef, or a simple protein shake. Just make sure that it's high quality and not loaded with hormones or antibiotics or artificial ingredients. Hack number 2. Next, I'm going to show you the single ingredient that clogs your liver faster than sugar, and it is hiding in almost every food that you buy. Most people have no idea they're eating it because it doesn't really taste much like anything. It doesn't taste bad. It doesn't smell bad. And labels like heart healthy and even organic or keto or low carb make it look completely harmless. But it's actually one of the main reasons your liver gets bogged down, even when you think you're eating clean. Talking about seed oils. These are the oils like soybean, corn, canola, safflower, sunflower, and they are found in almost every single packaged good, every restaurant meal, and almost every item that comes through a drive-through window. Chips, crackers, salad dressings, healthy protein bars, store-bought sauces, roasted nuts. They all use these oils because they're cheap, they're shelf-stable, and practically impossible to avoid unless you're looking for them. Here's the part that makes them so dangerous. The fat in these oils doesn't leave your body quickly. Your liver can clear natural fats fairly easily, but the dominant fat inside seed oils, which is linoleic acid, builds up in the body and stays there for a long time. And when I say a long time, I'm not talking about days or weeks. Linoleic acid can stay stored in your cells for up to 6 years. 6 years is a long time for any toxin to sit inside your body, let alone one your liver has to deal with every single day. Here's why that matters for fat loss. When linoleic acid builds up, it creates toxic byproducts inside your cells. One of them is called 4-HNE. You don't need to remember the name, but you do need to know what it does. It damages the tiny engines inside your liver cells called mitochondria. And when they're stressed or they're damaged, your liver stores fat instead of burning it. And that's how fatty liver begins, even in people who don't drink alcohol, and even in people who think they eat fairly healthy. But it gets even worse when these oils are heated. If you're eating something fried, French fries, chicken tendies, onion rings, breaded anything, the oil used to cook that food has usually been reheated over over and over again. Each time that oil is reheated, it becomes more unstable. And each time it becomes more unstable, more toxic breakdown byproducts and form inside of it. Animal studies show that when these reheated oils are eaten, fat gain skyrockets, even when the total calories stay the same. In fact, diets high in seed oils can lead to twice as much fat gain as diets high in sugar, even when the calories match. That's how quickly these oils overwhelm the liver. So what do you do instead? You switch to fats that your body actually knows how to break down. Extra virgin olive oil, avocado oil, coconut oil, grass-fed butter or ghee. These fats are stable, much lower in linoleic acid and far easier on your liver. And when you swap them, even without changing anything else about your diet, your liver responds fast. One study shows a 15% drop in liver fat in just 12 weeks simply by removing seed oils and adding in healthy omega-3 fats. No complicated plan, just better fats. Your liver wants to burn fat, but it can't do it if it is constantly being forced to store the wrong kind. That's why this swap is so powerful. Stay tuned because just in a moment, I'm going to explain the little-known two-step process that can actually remove these fats from your system quickly. But let's go to hack number 3. If you want to understand why your liver struggles to burn fat today, you have to look at what the human body was built for. Because we're living in a world that our biology was never designed to handle. For thousands of years, humans ate diets packed with plants, not the tiny portions that we eat now, but leaves, roots, stems, seeds, wild fruits, nuts, fibrous tubers. They ate those all day long. Scientists know this because they're analyzing fossil feces and stuff that we can actually see. And inside those fossils, they find evidence of 150 to 225 grams of fiber per day. Not from supplements, not from powders, not from other sources, from real food. Your ancestors weren't trying to eat more fiber. Fiber was simply built into every bite. Now compare that to today. The average person gets around 15 grams, less than 1/10 of what your body was built for. 95% of adults don't even hit the minimum recommended amount. So that enormous gap is called an evolutionary mismatch. Your liver, your gut, your metabolism were all engineered for a world that delivered fiber constantly, but you're living in a world where fiber has almost disappeared, and your liver feels the consequences every single day. So let me show you why this matters so much for fat loss, and specifically for liver fat. When you eat fiber, something remarkable happens in your gut. The bacteria that live there, the ones your body relies on to stay metabolically healthy, finally get the food that they're designed to use. Fiber is a fuel. It's specifically their fuel. And when they ferment that fiber, they create a compound called butyrate. Now, butyrate is one of the most important signals in your entire metabolism. When it arrives, it tells your liver to shift into cleaner or efficient state where burning fat becomes easier and storing fat becomes harder. You can think of it as like a software update for your liver. It helps your liver run the fat burning process the way that it was designed to. But that's not all. A study this year just discovered that one type of fiber called inulin reshapes your gut bacteria in a way that it protects your liver from fructose, the exact sugar that drives fatty liver disease, because it has to be broken down in the liver. That's why it drives so much liver disease. So those bacteria act like bodyguards intercepting the fructose before it ever reaches your liver. In that study, this effect was strong enough to actually reverse fatty liver disease. No medication, no extreme diet, just the right fiber feeding the right bacteria. So if you want to see a similar result, aim for around 25 grams of fiber per day if you're a woman and 30 to 38 grams per day if you're a man. And you don't just add any fiber, focus on the sources that your liver responds best to. Berries, chia seeds, flax seeds, avocados, black beans, lentils, broccoli, cauliflower, Brussels sprouts, leafy greens. These are the foods that give you fiber and the antioxidants and the minerals and the phytonutrients that your liver needs to start burning fat the way that it was designed to. Now, real quick, if you're enjoying this video thus far, be sure to hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. Doing so helps get this information to a lot more people that need to hear it. And it'll also make sure that you see more videos like this in the future. Let's go to hack 4. I want to show you something surprising when it comes to fruit. Most people think fruit is always a good choice. Normally it is, but when your goal is to shrink liver fat, certain fruits hit the liver a lot harder than others do. And if you're eating these without realizing it, they can quietly undo a lot of progress that you're trying to make. Here's why. Remember the sugar, fructose, we just mentioned, one that drives fatty liver disease? Well, that sugar is found in fruit, and your muscles can't use it for energy the same way that it uses other sugars. So almost all fructose has to be processed in one place, your liver. If your liver is already backed up, giving it a large dose of fructose is like adding more weight to a shelf that's already sagging. It handles it for a while until it can't. That's why researchers found that people with fatty liver who ate multiple servings of high fructose fruit per day actually made their liver worse, even when their overall calories stayed the same. So the goal isn't to cut out fruit altogether. It's simply to choose the fruits that support the liver instead of overwhelming it. So you may want to remove those that cause the biggest problem. That's bananas, grapes, mangoes, pineapple, watermelon. They're all delicious and they look healthy, but they're loaded with fast-hitting fructose. A single cup of grapes can contain as much sugar as a can of soda, and your liver treats that sugar the same way. Now, you don't have to cut them out forever, but if you're trying to heal your liver, they gotta go. Fruit juices are even tougher on the liver. 8 ounces of orange juice can hit your liver with the same amount of sugar as up to 4 whole oranges. None of that fiber from the juice that you would get from eating the orange, none of that fiber to slow it down. That's why juice spikes blood sugar almost instantly. But there are several fruits that can actually help your liver burn fat instead of storing it. Berries are at the top of that list. Blueberries, raspberries, blackberries, strawberries. They're low in sugar, high in fiber, packed with antioxidants. Those help reduce the inflammation that's in the liver. Grapefruit is another great option. It contains a compound called naringin and naringenin that help your liver break down fat more efficiently. Just make sure to check with your doctor if you're on like some kind of medication, if there's any kind of interaction, or ask your pharmacist as well, because they do interact with certain prescriptions. Granny Smith apples, another easy choice. Less sugar, less sweet than the red ones. They have more fiber, which slows down how fast that fructose can hit your liver. Kiwi is an excellent source. Low in sugar, supports digestion, contains vitamin C that helps your liver detox. And then there's also avocado. Most people forget that it counts as a fruit, but it's one of the best for the liver because it's low in sugar and high in glutathione building nutrients, which your liver uses to clear out the toxins. So when you're trying to burn liver fat, stick to these fruits and limit the high fructose ones. Your liver will feel a difference quickly. Hack number 5. Earlier when we talked about seed oils, I mentioned that the fat inside of those cells can stay trapped in your body for up to 6 years. That long-lasting fat is the reason so many people feel stuck, even after cleaning up their diet. Because once that fat gets picked up and packed into your liver, replacing it isn't as simple as eating healthy. Your body needs help removing it. And that's where this next step comes in and where it's incredibly important. It's called the 2-step fat detox. And it was designed specifically to help you pull out the linoleic acid that you've already stored, not just stop you from eating more of it. This is the part almost everybody misses. Cutting out seed oils, which is essential, but the old fats that's been sitting in the liver doesn't just disappear on its own. Remember, it can stay in your system for up to 6 years. So you need 2 things to start clearing it out. And they only work when you use them together. Step 1 is giving your body the right fat to rebuild with. That fat is EPA. EPA is an omega-3 found in wild-caught fish and high-quality fish oil. And your body uses it to build the outer layers of every cell. You can think of that outer layer like the walls of a house or the door. And if the walls were built during the years when you were eating seed oils, they contain a lot of linoleic acid, which makes them weaker and easier to damage, or if it's the door and the hinges, they get rusty. But EPA gives your body a stronger material to rebuild those walls with, or they grease the hinges so the doors can open and close and get the toxins out and get the nutrients in. And as the new cells form, they use more of the EPA and less of the old linoleic acid. That process sets the stage. But rebuilding the walls isn't enough. Step 2 is what actually moves the old fat out. And that's what happens during a short fast. A 20 to 24-hour fast, no food, gives your body a break from incoming calories. Once the incoming fuel stops, your body has to pull energy from stored fat instead. And this is the moment when the stubborn linoleic acid begins to leave your cells. Researchers tested this by combining EPA with short fasting windows. The results were remarkable. In just 13 days, participants released enough stored linoleic acid with their fasting to reduce their levels by 24%, something that normally takes years. EPA made that rebuilding possible, using that to build the new cell walls. Fasting opened the doors for the old fat to come out, and the 2 steps together created the detox effect the liver needs before it can burn fat. Let's go to the final hack. Next, there aren't many foods that live up to their nickname, but moringa does. It earned the nickname Miracle Tree because it helped entire communities survive when nothing else could. Almost every part of the plant is edible. The leaves alone contain around 92 nutrients and 46 antioxidants, and for centuries, people across Asia and Africa have used it as a natural way to support healing, energy, and immunity. But what really puts moringa on the map today is how it affects fat loss. Because when researchers tested a moringa-based blend in a clinical study, the group taking moringa lost 12 pounds in 16 weeks, while the placebo group lost 2. It's almost a 6-fold increase on fat loss, with no extreme dieting and no No intense workouts, just consistent use. So why does moringa work so well? Well, it has to do with how your cells release stored fat. Your fat cells only let go of stored energy when a hormone called adiponectin is active. Adiponectin acts like a release signal, telling fat cells it's safe to open up and let fuel out. But the older you get, especially after 50, adiponectin naturally declines. That's one of the reasons stubborn fat feels more stuck with age. Moringa helps support healthy adiponectin levels. So instead of holding on to fat tightly, your cells become more willing to let it go. But moringa doesn't stop there. The antioxidants in its leaves help calm the irritation inside of your liver cells that build up from years of stress and poor sleep and environmental toxins. When those cells are less irritated, they can use more of their energy for repair instead of wasting energy fighting inflammation. And repair mode is where fat burning happens. Moringa also supports the natural shift your body makes at night. Inside the leaves are compounds that help your body produce melatonin, a hormone that signals your brain it's time to wind down. Better melatonin support means deeper sleep. Deeper sleep gives your liver the chance to do cleanup work that it can't do during the day. So what's the best way to take it? The easiest, most effective form is a capsule made of organic moringa leaf, not the stems and the seeds, but definitely not the extracts that remove many of the natural nutrients. Typical dose is 500 to 1,000 milligrams. You can swallow it whole or open the capsule and put it into a smoothie. Just choose a clean organic source so you're actually getting the nutrients moringa is known for. Also be aware that most of the moringa on the market is grown in contaminated soil, it's processed in heat, or it's mixed with a lot of fillers that dilute the nutrients. Some bottles even use the deceptive claim that there's 10,000 milligrams on the front, even though it's the actual dose inside the capsule is much smaller. So I made my own in that one personally. Grew it in clean soil, made sure it was organic, only the leaf, protected at low temperatures. It's a 1,000 milligram dose of pure organic moringa, nothing else added. No fillers, no artificial ingredients, just a leaf and a dose that research supports. So if you want to add moringa into your routine, I'll put a link for it below. Now, if you want even faster results on burning liver fat, there's one more thing you need to fix. Even if you add all the right foods, the wrong ones can still clog your liver and shut fat burning down. And most people are eating at least one of them without realizing it. So before you go, watch my other video on the 7 toxic foods that ruin your liver and block weight loss. It's been viewed by over 1 million people, and it shows you exactly what these foods are and how to get them out of your diet starting today. I'll include a link to that here. Click to watch it next, and I'll see you there.